Well, hello everybody, I am Scojo in 360. Welcome to another edition of Immersed in Nature. Today we are in Port Orford, Oregon. It's a small town on the southwest coast of Oregon. It's about 30 miles south of Bandon, which is a famous place for golfers. I'm with South Coast Tours today. We were hoping to do an overnight paddle that you can pick off their website, but the weather was just such that today we're just going to do a quick 2.5 hour round trip to see some seals, hope for some whales, and have some fun. So, let's get started. Now please remember, this is 360 video, so you got to take advantage of it because you can look all around. Use your A, S, D, and W keys on your keyboard, or click and drag, or use your smartphone and just point it the direction you want to look.
Sweet.
Because we are going on an adventure that comes with some amazing visuals, and they're all around you. So again, please take advantage of this 360 video. The pace of this trip is pretty slow. It's not a hard workout, and sea kayaking is not as hard as people think it is, so this is a very beginner-friendly kayak session. And it even comes with some hosted history.
And so this was put in place in the 1930s for fishermen and sailors, people getting caught out in this section of the ocean, to have that as a safety net, but also for the wartime. There's a lookout. There used to be a lookout tower up there on the hill. Their living quarters were up on the hill, and then the boathouse down here and the boat down here. And these posts that line the hillside used to be a series of what they called the 1,000 steps. So 532 down and 532 back up. So to fill up the boat, load up a couple jerry cans of gas, lug them down, then go back up, refill, and then bring them back down.
Oh.
As I said, it's a leisurely pace, and there were several people here that were beginners. So if you are a beginner, do not fear this. The only time sea kayaking gets rough is when the conditions are rough, and they generally won't take you out. So if you're a little curious, I highly encourage you to do this trip.
Cool.
Paddle as hard as you can. You see that wave coming at you? If you've ever paddled,
It's not all relaxing. You do have an opportunity to do some fun with your kayaking. You're not forced to, but those who want to can go into caves and paddle around a little bit. So, of course, I had to do it. We're paddling pretty hard here because if a swell comes through, it will definitely lift you up.
Woohoo!
That was a lot of fun, but ironically, several of us came out and said, man, I was wishing that was going to be a little bit harder.
All right. All right.
The great thing about sea kayaking, I do a lot of river kayaking, but with sea kayaking, what you get is just waves that kind of come out of nowhere, and so it's good for the core. It keeps things a little bit exciting. With me, with river kayaking, unless it's whitewater, it's just a little bit more laid back and doesn't have as many challenges. And occasionally you run into a jellyfish. Take a look off the right side of my boat.
Jelly here. Yeah, it does. Probably doesn't taste like one, but
Now, when you're in a cove, kayaking is one thing. It's when you get out into the open ocean that things really begin to get interesting. So we're going to head out towards the open ocean, and that's going to be a little bit of a more interesting challenge. Here we go. We're turning the corner and we're starting to feel the open ocean.
oh, it almost looks like a wake.
Remember, this is 360 video. Look around, down, up. You can even look at my ugly mug. Again, this is a lot easier than it looks. You know, you do have to have some sense of balance and everything, but we had several couples that were here that had never kayaked before, so even though this looks like it might be a little bit more challenging, it's still very beginner friendly. And your guides are always there. We had 2 guides with us on this day. One always stays to the front, one always stays to the back. Now we're starting to head back towards home. We didn't get to see any whales on this trip. We saw probably about 15 seals. We saw tons of blue heron. We saw all kinds of waterfowl. The birds along this little overarch here, they actually build little holes in the rock and they survive and live in there. I hate to point it out, but that white stuff on the rock is not chalk. Alright, well, we are coming to shore. This was a fantastic trip.
Yeah.
Big kudos to Dave at South Coast Tours. Thank you very much to my guides.
Now, guys, probably have some sea legs.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for another edition of Immersed in Nature. You can stare at my fat butt pulling this kayak up, but please do hit subscribe. If you really like it, give me a thumbs up, and also hit that little bell on the side so you'll get notifications. And please share this with your friends. That's really the best way to get this kind of material becoming more accessible to everyone. Thanks, everybody. I'm Scojo in 360.